Not only am I home, but I'm actually awake today. Let's get into the video. Hi, I'm Brian from Airflow Music. Welcome back to another video. This is our November 8th edition of Go Practice. I hope you're having a great day today. In this video, we're still working on our daily drills, set 11, and in this one we're actually going to play all of them. In the last couple of days, because I've been out and about, or traveling all day, or things like that, I've just done shorter subsections of the set. We're going to do all of the exercises today. So let's quickly get into doing that. If you don't have set 11 of the daily drills yet, then you can find a link in the description box below this video where you can head over to the Airflow Music online store and download the free PDF. Our exercise 1, as ever, is our stability drill. This one has both a static bend and a regular bend in it. On the regular bend, just make sure to travel the full distance, really make a smooth portamento down into the half step and make sure you get all of the way there and back again. Other than that, this is a long setting thing, as we've been doing in many of these stability exercises over the various videos of these daily drill sets. So I think we know what that's all about. But the metronome's going at 60 beats a minute. We're really trying to play in time. I'm keeping the mouthpiece on my lips throughout the entire thing and breathing through my nose on the rest bar. And not too much else to say about it. So let's go ahead and play it. Exercise 1 done. So we're off to a good start. And I think my response felt reasonably good there. It's certainly coming around having done those. So I'm feeling pretty well set. And you may notice that in that, as I am in all of these exercises right now, I'm trying to keep a light grip on the trumpet so I don't strong arm too much and add unnecessary mouthpiece pressure, just kind of habitually. So I'm not putting my finger in the pinky ring on my right hand, and I'm trying to keep the grip fairly light with my left hand and not kind of pull in too much. So that's something you'll notice throughout all of these. Anyway, let's move on. Here's our exercise 2. Once again, as we did when we played this the other day, I am going to make the first repeat on the flexibility pattern, but I'm not going to repeat the scale pattern in each key here. We're still going fairly slowly with this, and so to give us a chance to get through it in one breath, I'm not making the repeats on the scale pattern, so everything all throughout this is slurred. Now, I'm going to make 3 bars rest in between keys, just as that helps it keep nice and even, gives us time to regroup and get on with it, and also makes it easier to predict when it's going to start while you're playing along. And I'll try and do a good job of making sure I count 3 bars. Sometimes that's been a problem for me, but we'll see how we do. Okay, in this video we're going to play this at 80 beats a minute. We're resetting on the bars rest. This isn't a long setting exercise, so we're getting the mouthpiece off our chops and resetting each time. And let's just try and keep it nice and smooth and play our major scales. Okay, let's do that. Here's exercise 2. The astute among you will notice a couple of edit points during exercise 2. To begin with, my wife came home from work and the door creaked and groaned as she opened it partway through, and then I had forgotten to switch the ringer off on my phone and the phone rang a little later on in the thing as I commenced the re-record. So a couple of edit points in that, but just because of other things going on today it wasn't possible for me to take the time and sit back down and record it all the way through, so we have to live with it on this occasion. It basically went fine. So I'm getting to grips with this. I feel like I was a little more even on the tempo, and at 80 beats a minute we're still going fairly slow. So not too much to worry about with that. But these are good things to practice every day and to get familiar with and really get inside of our major scales. Anyway, with that, let's move on to exercise 3, which is our tonguing drill. This one is a version of the static tonguing exercise, and this one is a 4-bar exercise. The rhythmic pattern is 2 bars of 16th notes or semiquavers, a 1-bar hold, followed by a 1-bar rest. And we repeat that rhythmic pattern for each note in a series of pitches. The sequence we're going to be using here for part 1, which is, I guess, exercise 3A on the PDF, is from low C chromatically down to low F sharp. And we play this as a long setting. The tempo on this occasion is 84 beats a minute, so we're going fairly slow for this one, so make it easier to play along with. And so we'll just try and keep nice and smoothly a nice tenuto style of tonguing with no particular gaps in between notes, and just really try and keep the air flowing nicely and not stop and start it too much. Of course, this is a long setting, so we're breathing through our nose on the rest bar and leaving the mouthpiece in place on our lips throughout the entire sequence. Let's play exercise 3A. Part 1 of that exercise went perfectly smoothly. It's interesting. Keeping the lighter grip, I expressed in yesterday's video how I felt that was making things bumpy for me on the low register, and that wasn't really the case at all today. Partly due to the slower tempo probably, and also partly due to the fact that I'm not nearly as fatigued as I was yesterday. I slept more than 2 hours last night and didn't spend half the day flying. So today is generally a much easier day for these things, and I think that contributes to it. Anyway, let's move on to part 2 of this, exercise 3B if you like. Now we repeat the same rhythmic pattern, but the sequence of notes changes. We start at low C and move chromatically upwards, hopefully as far as high C. This is a long setting, and with this one we follow the Caruso rules for similar kind of climbing exercises, which is to go as far as we can in the long setting before the sound fades out on us. That's the point at which we're going to take a 15 to 20 second break, during which we'll get the mouthpiece off of our lips and reset, and then start off again from the last pitch we were actually sounding. We'll kick back in and see how far we can get from there towards the high C. I wasn't able to get there yesterday, so we'll see how I do today. Once again, I'm keeping the light grip. I'm not using the finger in the pinky ring, and I'm trying to keep a fairly light grip in my left hand, because this was the exercise in which I spotted that I was really kind of pulling in and using extra mouthpiece pressure for no other reason than just habit. So trying to equal that out a little bit. So let's play part 2. Yep, the response gave out on me there. It was starting to dwindle and I started to wander on a couple of notes earlier, but there it is, not happening. So, short break, reset, get the mouthpiece off of our lips and all that good stuff, and then let's get back to it. In this run through of part 2, I was actually able to make it in the second part of the setting up to the high C. So that's good, that's encouraging. And I felt really that the amount of mouthpiece pressure was much more even than it had been. I wasn't pressing nearly as hard. I think I can probably minimize it even more. But there's definitely an improvement there, and I'm enjoying feeling that that's happening so quickly. So it's good to make these adjustments when we figure things out that we're doing. And often, once we've repeated something a lot, we can get into habits with it. And, you know, sometimes they're bad habits. And it just takes observing those and deciding to make a change very often to break that up and then start a new habit and get that going. So that's something I'm going to continue to concentrate on, because so far I feel like it's going well. Anyway, having played part 2 of that, or exercise 3B as it is on the PDF, let's move on and play part 3 so we can get through all of this stuff. So here's part 3, which is actually a repeat of part 1. Same rhythmic pattern, same overall deal, but we're back on low C and moving our way back down to low F sharp. Let's play that. My low register was generally feeling much more positive for that. Definitely a much easier time with that than I was having yesterday. So that's encouraging. Quite pleased about that. And that's really the observations I have about these exercises today. They've put me in a good place. Overall, my chops feel good, and I feel like things moving forward in a good way. Whatever else I get into practicing later on, I'll feel like I'm in good shape for it. And if it was a day when I didn't have time to do anything else, I'd feel satisfied that I'd got some good work in. I actually am going to practice some more as it goes. Anyway, how are you finding these exercises? We've played them for a few days now, and even though I haven't done all of them in every video, they have been out there, and I hope you've been playing them every day since I introduced them, because that's really the way we're going to get to grips with these things and also develop some consistency in our practice and see if we can get ourselves into a good place. So I'm interested to hear from you about how that is. Other than that, that's what I have for you in this one. So I'm going to leave it here. I hope you've enjoyed the exercises and playing along with me, and if you have, please do hit that like button and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. I'll be back with another video tomorrow, and until then, thanks very much for watching, and go practice.